Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Legacy Loading. And before we begin, that song that we were just listening to was called Evil Eye, and that was off the Hades 2 soundtrack. So if you're wondering what that is, there you go. It's from Hades 2. And tonight, my number 2 on the show, Mr. J Bongo. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Doing
Wonderful,
good.
wonderful.
Ready to learn about some old gaming history.
Yes, and this is the first time you're on the show, so why don't you introduce yourself to my audience, who you are and where you're from and what you did.
Yeah, I'm Jay Bongo. Fairly new to the streaming world. I basically stream video games in the morning, add some of my own commentary, try to study up on game design and game design philosophy and kind of share that as I play, what my thought process is. And I post clips. Yeah, that's pretty much it so far, but it's fun. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun to get into this whole streaming thing. This is basically just a fun little side hobby I like to do because it's fun. It's talking about video games. Everyone can do it, right? So why not?
That's right.
Yes. And tonight's episode, if you haven't guessed by the title, is all on the great gaming crash of the 1980s. So for everyone who is new with the series, Legacy Loading is one of these retrospective shows I like to do where we mostly watch a video game documentary, mostly heavily into currently the G4 Icon series. And the G4 Icon series covers a bunch of different topics from iconic video games to issues that happen in gaming, and tonight is one of the first ones that will be diving deeper into the video game crash. A lot of people know about it, a lot of people have heard about it, a lot of people can speculate about it. If you've watched the show, you've probably learned a lot just from the other episodes we have done, because a lot of franchises and topics that we covered before actually, tangentially touched on this subject a few ways before. So, Jay, what are some things you know about like this gaming crash? Like, what are tangentially some of the ideas that you have?
Well, I know that there's the theory that the ET game could have potentially caused it. The old ET Atari game. I know it had to do with a ton of bad games being produced to try to take advantage of this whole new trend of video games that was very new at the time. But that's pretty much it. So I am really interested to dig into this a bit more.
Okay, then. Well, enough of foreplay. Let's get right into this then, shall we?
Yeah.
So let's watch what they have to say, and by they I mean the industry back in the day.
Well, that space game there looks like a thrill a minute. Why not try a real blast?
In less than a year, it went from a golden age.
It's part of the American culture. I mean, video games are just part of the culture as apple pie and motherhood.
Now you're talking.
To its darkest hour.
I did not expect to hear apple pie and motherhood.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Some would say a better time.
Yeah.
But imagine if someone said that now. It's like, oh, it's as American as apple pie and motherhood. It's like,
Yeah. It's like we're getting two. I feel like we're getting nostalgia from like two different decades, the 80s, because this is all from the 80s, and then also from when this was produced, which was I think
2004.
Early 2000s. So
yeah,
like a double whammy.
I know.
A little bit before my time and
22
my
years
time.
Ago. Just 22 years ago. That's the other day I was like laying in bed and I had a panic attack because I'm like, I'm turning 35 this year, man. It's getting real.
Yeah. I turned 39 on Saturday.
I know. Yeah, I know. One more year and then it's the big
4-0. Oh man.
I know, it's always crazy, right? You're like, I'm still young, and then you wake up one day, and it's like, why can't I eat spicy food like I used to?
I know. Well, I'm when it comes to my video gaming, I joke about how like my litmus test is like one of my favorite games is Mega Man X, and so every year I have to beat Chill Penguin, and the year I can't beat him is I've officially grown too old.
Wrapping it up, bros.
Yeah.
You gotta call it, guys.
That's
it's
right.
official.
Hang up the controller.
I'm finally done.
Let's put it this way. A lot of people didn't like E.T. E.T. became the icon of the crash.
It was really the demise of the business, and we unfortunately didn't see it coming.
This game is awful and otherwise lacking any redeeming values.
So a lot of really bad games got out there. And not to say the bad games don't get out there still, but some really bad games got out there in the early 80s.
That is very true. One thing I think I have a difficult time talking with some people about when it comes to their rose-tinted glasses, I like to say, is they always go like, "Oh, everything was better back in the day." I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we still have a lot of those same very problems that plagued this industry from day one to now.
Yeah. I do feel like it did balance out a bit. I still like I say this, but I really do have to dig into it more as to why people say it. But like the golden age of gaming being the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, like the GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era. I think it kind of balanced out then, and then it's like almost like a bell curve. Now we've got like what? There's like 15,000 indie games being released on Steam a year.
Yeah, we're just getting flooded, but I think we've always kind of just been flooded because I think
Yeah.
I think like if you balance out all the libraries of the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube, and you don't even include the PC at the time, there was thousands of games that came out during that time, and really, how many of them did we actually play as kids? Because we, limited income, and we had all the time in the world, but we still had like no real knowledge. Like shows like X-Play or magazines like Game Informer were really the only way we could even learn about some of these obscure games and facts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, shovelware is what they called the bad titles.
I mean, it's still technically like a lot of shovelware even today. It feels like. Now it's just redressed up as like, oh, it's a popular thing. Quick, release the Temu version of it on Steam. And see if you can scrape together like a couple grand.
Exactly. Gotta cash in on that.
Yeah.
This is the story of the birth and near death of the home video game market. The story begins just as the decade does, with big hair.
I want to be different, and I think I look good the way I dress.
And big dreams. The video game industry begins with a boom, having gone from a non-existent medium to annual sales of nearly $2 billion. And more.
That's a lot of money even for back in the day.
Yeah, that's a ton of money.
Yeah. From what we've learned from doing all these other old episodes, it's just like the arcades, games like Pac-Man create like quarter shortages. I know that was like one of the big things we learned. But on top of that too, when we were looking at the Intellivision and the Blue Sky Rangers, the people who did all the video games for them, basically it was just like if you had an idea, you just put it out there, and more likely than not, it would be just successful enough for you to go and make another stupid idea.
Yeah. I just quickly looked it up. Like, what's the gaming industry today? It's 184 billion worldwide. That's the estimate. That's man.
and that's nothing to shake a tail feather. I wonder how much for like if you compound that with inflation, how 2 billion would be now in this terms of money.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. I would have to look that up. Someone, if you're in the chat who's smart, let me know.
More arcade games move into homes.
We used to joke at Activision that we'd write a cartridge and throw it up in the air and money would fall out of the sky. I mean, every game we did was selling 500,000 to 1 million units. The profit margins were extraordinary. So the company was just making.
It's so weird to think about back in the day with Activision and just seeing how far they've come today.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So wild.
Making money faster than they could put it in the bank.
And a generation of kids are hooked on games.
I mean, it's part of the American culture. I mean, video games are just part of the culture as apple pie and motherhood.
Arcades are everywhere, and both kids and adults are drawn into the dark rooms, dropping endless quarters into the latest digital fad.
You know, it's kind of funny to think about this. When we did the fighting game episode, they talked about how fighting games saved the arcade and then quickly killed it again, which is funny to think about too, because a lot of people cited that because players became so good at the fighting games, they weren't spending as much money.
Yeah. Yes.
And then after that too, they were also scaring away the casuals because they were taking up the machines and no
Yeah.
one wanted to play against them.
Well, that was the thing. There was that shift to when the home console came in, the games and the design of the games had to change because they weren't constant money makers anymore. You paid once.
Mm-hmm. But
what he just said though was interesting though. Like video games, yes, they're part of American culture, but it's funny because like I don't know about what your experience was growing up as a gamer, but you know there was still the popular kids and then the nerd dichotomy within school, and it was not like a popular thing to be a gamer. It wasn't until the dawn of the internet, I feel like, that the gaming became more and more mainstream, and then phones just completely changed the game. Pardon the pun.
I like it, pun though. I feel like there was always that like everyone kind of went through a stage. So I want to say video games were kind of like you said in more like the 80s. They were definitely more looked upon as like, you know, oh, this is for like dweebs and stuff. Like it was in there with like the Dungeons and Dragons. And on top of that too, you had to deal with like the Reaganite Republicans growing up, the conservatives like that. Yeah. Who basically said everything was satanic and you're all going to hell if you play Dungeons and Dragons, video games, heavy metal music, whatever, you know. Like they had a lot of that stuff. On top of that too, with the whole arcade movement that was going on, you know, like they was just saying, it's like, you know, kids and adults are going into these like dark rooms and they're just spending money and time. And what we learned from like other shows, like, you know, they were making laws to shut down arcades after a certain time. Like kids cannot come in at a certain time. It got to the point where we were learning like why the ESRB was like being created too. You know, with ironically enough, I forget their names, but both of them were Democrats. One was from Wisconsin, and I think one was from Delaware. And they made those laws to help push through the ESRB and stuff to kind of, you know, also let parents know, like, hey, you know, these video games, they're not just for kids, you know.
Right. It was Mortal Kombat though. That was the game that triggered that, right?
One of them. It was Mortal Kombat. It was more like it was Night Trap and all those other games too.
Yeah, that's right, Night Trap. Yeah.
Yeah. A game's like so not offensive now that we just kind of laugh at it, and you know, like limited run games and everything, like just did a whole re-release of them for modern consoles, and we just kind of take it for granted. Just like, this was like so taboo, you know, back in the day, but now it's just like now I can play it on my Vita in public. Yeah. But like, but you were kind of right about that. But I want to say like more so in the 90s. I think video gaming started to become a little bit more acceptable. Like, I know a lot of people kind of downplay it, the remakes right now for this one game, but Final Fantasy VII felt like the first like popular non-sports game kind of crossover that really had like appeal with the teenage generation.
Yeah,
you know, my sister's generation basically.
Well, that was when the PS1 came out. You know, I was always a Nintendo kid. You know, we didn't have the money to get multiple consoles of each generation, right. So I would get the N64, and some of my friends would have a PS1 or both, if they could afford it. But I do remember kids talking about Final Fantasy VII specifically that I didn't consider to be in my like school social class, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, the PlayStation 1, I think, did appeal to, I mean, I was in middle school at the time, so it did start. That's when like the aspect of the culture war of like Nintendo's for kids type thing.
Yeah,
I think that started then too.
Yeah, and we could even talk about the console war too, when it was like Sega and Nintendo as well.
Yeah.
Which were there was that little rivalry. I think a lot of iconic things came, and they got their own like Saturday morning cartoons as well. Mario, Zelda, and then of course Sonic got plenty of Saturday morning cartoons. More later, not so much in the '80s, but more like in the '90s and early 2000s. But you know, there was a lot of crossover and mass appeal with video games, and then Pokemon came out, and it was just, you know,
oh man, what an awesome time to be a kid.
Yeah, it was a great time to be a kid, and you know, it's 30 years now of Pokemon. You know,
yeah, that's right, 30 years,
and you know, it's now the #1 IP of all time. You know,
yep.
It's just so crazy to think about. But yeah, like you were saying, like video games, I think started to change that perception more in the '90s. And then it definitely has just become more and more mainstream with ease of accessibility to get into a lot of these games, because a lot of video games also got turned into movies and TV shows, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that helped out as well. Kind of go from subculture to, you know, the culture.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
So let's continue.
The arcade crap back in the old days was really weird, because you definitely had all the little scrubs like me, you know, like little kids who were riding their bikes there, and then you had like high school students, and you had college students, but then it was also really weird because you had like businessmen. It was really weird because it wasn't like a kid phenomenon, it was like really across the board phenomenon.
Experts predict that by the mid-'80s, combined arcade and home video game sales will soon be higher than movie box office revenue. As the summer...
I think that's true today, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I think video games make the most money now out of everything.
Yeah, especially with live service microtransaction games.
Mm-hmm.
Of 1980 rolls around, Atari sues Activision, a software company made up of former Atari employees, over whether
I did not know this. Did you?
No, I did not.
Wow. I actually didn't know that this at all.
Atari the Activision.
Well, I didn't know that Activision was founded by former Atari employees either.
Yeah.
That's news to me. Oh, well, I learned something new right there. Oh, wow.
Activision has the right to produce games for Atari's popular 2600 video computer system. By December, the verdict is in, and the courts allow Activision to make the games. 4 months later, sales for Activision titles reached $6 million.
There was this perception that Atari was a fad.
Oh my God, it's Bobby Kotick! It's the devil himself! Look at how young he is in this one. He still looks like a fucking potato.
What's he doing nowadays?
Oh, he's fucking living the life, that's for sure. You know, he's fucking made enough money.
What's his net worth? I'm curious.
Oh, he's fucking worth billions, man. Billions of dollars.
600 million is according to Celebrity Net Worth.
Yeah, bullshit. I think he's got to be worth billions. He's still at Activision, I think, right?
Yeah. Is an American businessman who served as chief executive officer for Activision Blizzard and its predecessor Activision looks like he ended it in 2023.
Okay. I thought he got a bigger payout. He must be sending out a lot of money. He's probably worth a shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like Jonah Hill's character from fucking Superbad. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. He still kind of looks like an older Jonah Hill.
Man, not anymore. Jonah Hill, have you seen him lately? I don't even recognize him.
Yeah, it's true.
He's so skinny. I'm like, holy shit, man. God bless him.
The 2600 to the pet rock, and that it couldn't be duplicated, and probably a lot of your viewers wouldn't even know what a pet rock is, but you had a lot of companies that had emerged overnight after Activision's success.
And of course, once Activision became successful, then came Imagic.
So once again, it's Activision's fault. There you go.
Yep.
We can blame Activision for sure.
Yep. Let's do it.
They won a fucking lawsuit and they fucked it all up.
Yeah. We can end the episode now. We figured it out.
We figured out the problem. It's Activision. Activision is the root of all evil. That's what we are just learning. Once again, same problems as always. I did not know that. That's very interesting. I have an Activision episode ready to go.
Okay, so wait. The lawsuit was basically Activision wanted to make games for the Atari.
Yes.
And then Atari was like, no, you can't do that. But then the court was like, yes, you can. So
Yeah.
that spawned the whole like third party games for systems thing. Like it's illegal for them to do that. But I think now.
And that's why they have all these like companies. They said that just sprouted up from that decision.
Yeah,
because now they can do it.
I can't help but think of the whole like rumored AI bubble, like all these AI companies popping up.
It feels like there's always going to be that bubble. Once the doors open, everyone's going to slam through. It's like that episode of Simpsons with Mr. Burns. They're like, you have every disease ever, Mr. Burns, but they're all jammed at the door. You know? That's what this feels like right here.
And Apollo, 20th Century Fox, everyone had to jump into it.
Network games are waiting for you.
And that opened up the industry. Before then, no one had a clue. And I think that single seminal event was the thing that really led to the overcrowding of the market.
The home and arcade video game market is filling up with brand new companies.
And of course, as more and more companies got in, there was more and more game supply and just not enough demand to support that much. And plus, you have...
What we also learned, because that guy, he was one of the Intellivision founders. I forget his name. Sadly, he's passed away. He also said that all the first-party consoles were not taking any profits from these like renegade games.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's why Atari probably didn't want that to happen, because nowadays you get a cut, or you have to pay to get a license.
Yeah, you get like all the first party manufacturers or storefronts get like a 30% cut. I think is like the base rate for a lot of it. Or depending on the deal. I know Steam says if it sells more, they take less. Epic takes less overall, I think. And then I guess Activision was actually charging the console makers a little bit more because they know it's the #1 seller, so they could get away with it. Right. It's very interesting how the revenue split was, but I just remember from the ColecoVision episode, which I learned that back in the day, like why Nintendo had that seal of approval.
Yeah.
Basically saying like they're taking a cut from those games versus back in the day, Atari was not taking a cut of any of the video game sales and everything. So that's why it was really also, detrimental to the industry because they weren't getting that, let's say a 30%,
Yeah.
The games back then, because of people rushing into the market, what happened was people wanted games that they recognized the titles.
This game.
So if a new company got into the business, like Parker Brothers, for example, they would go out and spend a whole lot of money and get like the rights to Empire Strikes Back.
Now this is Star Wars right there. That's real Star Wars right there.
Good stuff.
That's back then when it was real good and nothing could ever top it. Just flying around on Snowspeeder, just with like the crappiest Star Wars theme on a loop.
James Bond.
Bro, look at this fucking James Bond. Even with my imagination, I can't pretend that this is James Bond right here.
It is a fairly detailed sprite for the time, I guess. It's got
I guess so.
2 color shades, and it's making use of the blacks to.
This is cutting edge for sure. Oh my goodness!
I'm sure that the ET game is going to be. It's coming.
It's coming up, man. I gotta take this picture now.
Yeah, that should be a new avatar.
It's gonna be my avatar when I next party chat with Neo. I'm just gonna fuck with him like this.
But
no, this is not the James Bond game, is it? I've never played the James Bond. What is this?
It didn't have to matter. It didn't matter back then. I remember when the first it was like an NES Star Wars game. At the very end, like Darth Vader turns into a giant scorpion.
That's awesome though. That sounds cool.
Doesn't matter. It's
I couldn't. Is this what is this? This is a snail. This is a snail.
It's a spy car.
I guess. What the fuck is this? What's is it? What's like 7 Mile Island right here? Is this the fire under 7 Mile Island? Is that what James Bond's doing? Is that the mission? He goes to Pennsylvania to fight off nuclear secrets. Oy. I know. It's back in the day, but like, damn. At least the Star Wars game, I can tell it was a Star Wars game. All right, this one.
Yeah.
If you just showed me this still and said, "What is this game?" I would be like, "No fucking clue."
Yep.
Weren't experienced in video games, so they would get the best titles, but then they would produce the worst games.
Toy companies like Parker Brothers and Hasbro form video game divisions. But when unrelated companies like Chuckwagon Dog Food and Quaker Oats jump on board, the market...
What? Wait, what? Wait, did I hear that right?
Yeah, Quaker Oats.
No, Chuckwagon Dog Food? What?
Yeah.
What the fuck is Chuckwagon Dog Food? Is that still around?
I don't think so. I know from Quaker Oats it is for sure.
Chuckwagon Dog Food. Chuckwagon Dog Food was a popular brand of dry dog food introduced by Purina in 1967.
Purina Puppy Chow.
What the hell is going on around here?
Yeah.
And they sponsored to make video games? Chase the Chuckwagon. Oh my god, it is just a giant ad for dog. That's a dog. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's a Chuckwagon at the top. Can't you
Yeah.
tell?
Now it's look, you can't say that they were false advertising. I wonder if this game's still out there.
I'm
Chase.
I'm sure all these games.
I want to see how much this costs. Oh, Chase the Chuckwagon. There we go. We gotta look it up right now. $150.
Wow.
That's just for one that is not in a box. In a box, it's 15 grand. It's like 1,500.
Dang. Jeez.
You know, I'll share.
But is there a
this,
ROM of it? Can we?
I'm
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure a developer could make it in that game in an afternoon.
Yeah, this is what it looks like now.
That is crazy.
Who has this? I'm gonna make this a little bigger for people to see.
Yeah.
Look,
Who owns this?
look at this.
Super Mario 64,000 your door.
They even got a protective sleeve for you over here. Wow.
That is amazing.
That is absolutely funny. Gaming history right there. Icon of the industry. Chase the Chuckwagon and Mario 64.
begins to turn.
Yeah, that was a problem. I mean, it was funny. I was talking to Steve Cartwright yesterday, and we remember how we went to CES and look at all these other companies and laugh and just say, this is a big joke. I mean, all the games were horrible. One year there were 10 extra companies. Next year there were 30 extra companies.
Oh my God,
people just got burned. They just got tired of getting all these bad games. So that drove people away from video games. There were no checks and balances for quality in those days. So a lot of really bad games got out there.
I mean, is there still any checks and balances today? Let's
I
be
was trying to
honest.
say the same thing. Some might say there's still no checks and balances.
Some will say that there was never checks and balances, and they just pretend that there is.
Yep.
Let's be honest here. Like, I don't think they'll talk about it, but you were a Nintendo kid growing up, so you know that Nintendo seal of approval was also dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could get some. I'm thankful. I feel like I had the wherewithal to. I played enough good games to determine the good games from the bad ones, but it always like broke my heart a little bit when I saw like a little kid at the store purchasing one of these games I just knew was terrible. It's like, oh,
yeah,
don't do that.
Oh, it was worse.
Buy this game; it's much better.
Yeah, but it's also crappy for us because we had to go rent the game too.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, there's our weekend budget of entertainment my mom and dad put up, and it's my weekend's ruined.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember one time I didn't know anything. I rented Mario is Missing, thinking it was a Mario game for the Super Nintendo. It is technically a Mario game, but it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a weird trivia type game where you wonder. It's like they made this weird trivia game and they slapped Mario characters on top of it. And I remember I paid $3 to rent it for 2 days, and I was so upset because like I was like, this is not It's not good.
It was not. I remember. I think the AVG did it, right?
I think so. I don't remember.
It's been so long. A lot of that stuff still holds up really well.
And not to say the bad games don't get out there still, but some really bad games got out there in the early 80s.
The world's greatest arcade video games are now the world's greatest home video games. They're only from Atari.
Atari, with about 12 million consoles in homes, is still dominating the game industry until they release an old arcade favorite.
That game?
With disappointing results.
Yeah, we covered that on the Pac-Man episode too, how horrible this game was for the Atari. It was just so bad.
Wait, so it was different in a way than the one that made a big splash in the arcade, right?
Right. It just was, obviously there was a lot more limitations to the hardware, so they couldn't really capture that same spirit that made Pac-Man look so much better. And it basically was the equivalent is you have HD and you go to cell shade 2D,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just oh, this was a choice, but not one you wanted to make.
Here comes Pac-Man, biggest game in the history of arcades. People are really excited. The pre-orders are huge. Atari is so sure that this is going to be a hit that they made more copies of Pac-Man than there were active VCSs in people's homes. And this would be a huge hit.
Well, that's retarded.
Yeah, why would they do that?
That's stupid.
Well, I mean, I think maybe their thought process was obviously this is going to fund people actually buying the system.
It's going to sell more systems. It's a system seller, as they would say. But no.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember there was that brief period of time where going to the arcade to play the one that comes to mind is the Ninja Turtles game at the arcade.
Yeah.
The arcade games were still, because they were so big in these boxes, they could have better graphics technically than your home console. But once the N64 PS1 era kicked in, it just you don't need to go to the arcade anymore to play the higher tech games.
Yeah, you can take the lag and the downgraded quality. But also you got to consider too, back in the day, we're talking TVs had they didn't have the VCR or what are those, the AVN cords.
Mm-hmm.
You had to literally plug it in with it looked like you were trying to hook up a car battery to your TV.
I remember that.
That
songs that you had to kind of screw in.
Yeah, so it was a lot more, let's just say it definitely there are people who are Luddites like me. Back then that just looked so fucking primitive even to a lot of those people. It's could you imagine your 1960s dad who is now in his 30s and 40s? He's what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I'm hooking up a fucking car battery. What are you doing? They're not going to understand that.
Nope.
Mike says, I heard Pac-Man a moment ago, and that sound effect is reused in Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, interesting.
I have to look into that because I don't know. I didn't know that.
Stunk. Really, really stunk.
It's pathetic.
The ghosts keep on appearing and disappearing. They didn't move smoothly. Pac-Man didn't move smoothly. The mazes were not the same mazes that you saw in the arcade game. The dots were replaced with dashes. There was just nothing right in it.
They made Doom run better on a calculator than they did Pac-Man on Atari, right? That's what I'm learning. They made Doom run better on Windows Notepad than Atari did Pac-Man. Right? Come on.
I find it funny that it's just so funny because even back then with such limited technology, it's very easy to look back at all those games and think they're all bad. Mm-hmm. But comparing the Pac-Man that succeeded versus this one, there's programming errors, design errors, probably marketing errors that caused them to overproduce it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of errors that happen today with games, just at a like lower technology level.
It was the original meme of "we have Pac-Man at home." You know. What I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I want to stop and play Pac-Man. No, we got Pac-Man at home.
Yeah.
It actually was the originator of this meme that everyone forgot about.
One of the employees at Atari, they were sorry about Pac-Man. They didn't like it. And he was at a video game store when it came out. And his father walked into the store because his son wanted Pac-Man. And the storekeeper gives him the cartridge, shows it to him. And he goes, "That's Pac-Man?" And he didn't want to buy it, but his son wanted it. And the Atari employee just felt so bad that this was what they were marketing with the Pac-Man name, and it didn't resemble the game at all.
In spite of the
They
quality,
knew it was shit, and they had to go out and fight the war. Oh my goodness.
Oh man,
that takes some stones to go out. Like, yeah, we hated this. We hated it so much that our company's CEO and board of directors said, "Let's make 12 million plus of these game cartridges." I guess.
Wow.
Because that's what they were basically implying, right? That there was more of the console. Well, I don't think it was the exact Atari, but I think they said that they made more than what they actually had as consoles out there.
Yeah. Well, it's very clear that what was going on this time too. It's like they had the mentality that I still think exists today with, like, you take a popular IP and then you slap the name of the popular IP on the game or movie, and then you do whatever you want underneath that, and just kind of hope people will accept it. And, you know, I think that happens with movies and TV for sure, and, you know, games as well. It's like,
I mean,
you can't...
it's hard to top a sequel, right? You know?
Yeah.
Sequels sell. You know, not to be like political, but they always say the power of incumbency. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's that name recognition. People go with the name brand. It's why people like Coke or Pepsi. You know?
That's right.
It's just like it's sad. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
That's why we have 13 Fast and the Furious movies. You know? I'm not watching them, but somebody is. And they keep going into theaters, and they keep having crazy budgets to do it. So look, like I said, there's an audience out there of dedicated diehards who love this stuff. And you know, like you and I can probably agree on this too. Like, we're fans of video games. Like, we have our series that we're always going to go and play and try out the new ones. You know, Legend of Zelda, new Mario game, new Pokemon game. You know, like we're going to go out there, and most of the time, I would like to say I'm like. I get a lot of heat for this. You know, I'm a big Pokemon guy. Mm-hmm. And now I'm at that point where it's like I buy a Pokemon game and I just find them to be, you know, cozy, relaxing kind of games. They're basically, you know, popcorn games at this point for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to just go around the world and I'm going to do my checklist of capture all these Pokemon and just kind of take in the world and, you know, get lost in it. Like I'm 10 years old again, just walking around, you know, like the Viridian Forest looking for a Pikachu and stuff, you know?
I bought Red. I bought Fire Red. For the
you are a war criminal now. Don't you hear that? Be careful.
Sorry, everyone.
You're going to Nuremberg's, man. We're going
the nostalgia was too strong, and I wanted it on my Switch. I wanted it as part of that collection.
Listen. I bought it too, and my wife bought it hers as well. All right. You know, but that's another thing too. It's like, well, it was like $20. You know, like that. They were originally saying that it was going to be $30. You know,
yeah, 30 might have been a bit too much for me.
Yeah, I definitely would have passed if it was 30. I'm like, I'll wait until they basically say like, yeah, you know, but at the same time, like the argument comes is like, what's the value proposition? And as a retro collector, these cartridges, you know, like to get an actual real Pokemon cartridge is like hundreds of dollars.
Yes.
You know, and
I sold all mine when I was a kid, stupidly, and then a few years ago I wanted them back, so I cannibalized one of my other hobbies and sold all that stuff, and then I rebought the games, and thankfully I got in before they really skyrocketed. But they cost about $50 each back in 2021. Now it's just ridiculous.
You know what I regret as a kid? Throwing away all my boxes.
Yes, me too.
That's the one thing now, that because I've become such a complete in box whore for all my games, and the worst ones to collect for, because I try not to collect for N64 and Game Boy and Game Boy Advance as much. It's just because I want that box. I like how it looks and how it's displayed. And I could get by with some repos. Like Etsy has some really good reproduction boxes.
Yeah, they do.
So I will order those just to keep because I hate loose cartridges. I just like they're just getting dust in them. They're gonna look bad. They're awkwardly placed on your shelf. I like that uniformity. That's my autism kicking in. It's like I gotta have it look somewhat nice. But like the Pokemon boxes themselves are like $100+ just for the box. And I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah. Because people will buy them.
Yeah, I'm one of those suckers. Every time I go to video game conventions, one of my favorite things is to always kind of just look around and see what is out there, And
I'm not gonna shame you for it, man. If I had the money, I would totally purchase so many retro consoles and games, and I get it. I understand. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it. I got a buddy who has literally every retro console and has a way huger collection than me. I always joke with him. It's like, man, you are the inspiration for the 40-year-old virgin. But, at the same time, he's like, oh, you got to start collecting for this console? I'm like, I told him, I was like, I'm keeping it simple, man. I'm just going with consoles that were around when I was alive. I'm not going to go with anything prior.
Yeah, you don't need to go back.
I'm like, I have no attachment to Sega Genesis or Super NES and stuff like that. I N64 and PS1. That's the cutoff there, and we're going forward from there.
Yep.
Yeah, but October Mike chimes in over here. He says, dude, I sometimes have that sensation of buying a Switch 2 to play the Galaxy games, but I am not letting my nostalgia get the best of me. I get that. I feel like the thing is, as millennials, sometimes you have to balance that, I guess, what the gluttonous need to just indulge yourself on whimsical, like, nostalgia. But also, you just realize that after a certain point in time, it's like, you're an adult, and you can, you got a value proposition. Like, is it worth it to have fun in your time, And I think, you're a father, right?
Yep.
Like, there is another added layer, too, where it's like you want to also have fun with your kids doing something that you loved, and now in more of, like, the right way. Now you know what to do.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I'm very picky with the games I let my kids play. None of these dumb Android games that are a dime a dozen or anything like that. They're going to play.
Right.
Once they're old enough, they're gonna have a list of games they got to beat before they can get access to the rest of my library.
Yeah. See, for me, it's just I had an alcoholic dad who didn't want to pay attention to me, so he's just like, here, go rent a video game. I don't care. What is it, Grand Theft Auto? That's fine. I served in Vietnam. Who gives a shit?
The game sells well, but the disappointing translation creates wariness in Atari's fans.
This game is awful and otherwise lacking any redeeming values.
A crash.
By the summer of 1982, home and arcade video games have become an unstoppable industry, generating $2 billion in annual sales. Industry leader Atari has put video games in over 5 million households and grabbed a 40% share of the home computer market with the success of the VCS.
I'd like an Atari 2600 system, please, and everything that goes with it. Everything you sure want everything. I want everything.
Ironically, when I arrived at Atari in 1982, we were saying, we're so big.
Is that everything? Not everything.
Mark Cerny. He worked at Atari? Is that what he just said?
Wait, say that again.
System, please, and everything that goes with it. Everything you sure want everything. I want everything.
Ironically, when I arrived at Atari in 1982, we
I
were...
did not know he worked at Atari either. Mark Cerny, PlayStation guy, the guy that makes all the silicon for the PlayStation consoles.
Oh, man, a lot of these old guys are still around today.
They are, and I will say this: Mark Cerny still looks like he kills male prostitutes and wears their skin. He's never lost that weird vibe for him. Some would say. But I did not know he worked at Atari. Jesus Christ. It's amazing how much I learned from these like little, and it's not even like crazy like information that's probably hidden away, but it's just like no one ever talks about like Mark, Cerny started his career at Atari. I just know him as the PlayStation guy,
We're saying we're so big.
Is that everything? It's not everything. You can get nearly 300 different cartoon 300.
We're just as large as theatrical revenue for movies.
Oh, amazing. It's amazing, but it's not everything. It's not everything.
Now, does that sound familiar?
Is that everything? That's everything. For now. For now.
This is the arcade experience. We're ColecoVision, and we bring the arcade experience home.
Coleco and Intellivision are not far behind with their own respective systems.
For the first time in the video game industry, there were two systems at one time that were out there competing with each other. Intellivision, world's largest toy company, battling Atari, bought by Warner Communications. Boom, it's going to be a big business thing, big stock thing. Ooh, what's it going to be?
There's a growing library of Intellivision programs to involve every member of the family.
And for families, it was no longer a question of, should we get a video game system? Now it was, which video game system should we get? And now the sales for both Atari and Intellivision went way up. And so boom, they're going up.
I'm back to pass.
Go for it, Dad.
Caught it.
The competition just became really intense.
But the bubble is about to burst.
Yeah, because when we did the Intellivision episode, that's basically the first original console war right there.
Yeah.
Because the ads that they would always run would be just attacking Atari for just looking like dog shit and going like, is this really baseball? Now look at how it looks on Intellivision. This now you can tell this is baseball. And I was like, well, it's really good advertising.
The proto console war.
Mm-hmm.
Only from Atari.
In July 1982,
Oh, no.
Atari agrees to pay $25 million for the rights to produce a video game based on the hit movie E.T.
Oh, no.
The way E.T. came down, I got a telephone call, and I'm like, hello, and someone goes, is this Howard? And I go, yes. They go, please hold for Ray Kazar. So I'm holding for Ray Kazar, and Ray comes on, and this is late in July. Ray says, hey, Howard, we need E.T., and we need it by September 1st. So that's like 5.5, 6 weeks. He goes, can you do
What? Wait, it was 5... What?
I mean, the game...
And now it makes sense.
Programming... I don't know if programming just took longer back then, but the game code couldn't have been that complicated.
No, it definitely shouldn't have been long. But, maybe back in the day it's like maybe 5 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that would make sense. But it's just like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, like come on here a little bit.
You gotta get that money.
What? Well, they paid $25 million. $25 million. That's insane for 1982 money.
Yeah, and for something that it's just funny, like that game could be programmed today in like an instant,
AI could literally make
and it would be better.
It would actually make it better.
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's hear more of the story. 5 weeks. No wonder it was dog shit. I didn't know that.
What? And I said, you know something, Ray? I can definitely do it, provided we reach the right arrangement.
That glorious title screen. This is something like someone's kid could do.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
At least it looks like E.T.
They got this. This is where their budget went, just to make the replica E.T. face. And then after that, they said, fuck it with the letters.
Yeah.
They gave up.
That took up the 10th of a megabyte, which they couldn't fit into the cartridge.
That was 1 week of their 5-week development time. Right here. Oh my god. Even the Atari logo at the bottom here, it looks way better than whatever this is. Oh my goodness.
Atari spent how many millions of dollars to get the rights to E.T. and then rushed it into production and came up with this terrible game. So admittedly, probably he did the best thing he could in the time frame they gave him. But they started putting impossible schedules on everybody, so that also damaged the quality of games.
Unfortunately, that's what Atari was doing. They were after the name, thinking that, well, we could sell anything. They manufactured more copies of E.T. than there were Atari 2600s in existence.
No!
Not a good idea.
No.
Having already been bitten by poorly produced
Why do they
games.
keep doing that? Who was responsible for this idea? Guys, you could fucking sell more after the fact, all right? You didn't need to do that. I want to look into this now. It's like, was this like a mandate that you must oversell a product to the point where if it fails, you're just fucked?
Well, I mean, okay, so I don't know about back then, but I heard once, and I don't know if this is true, so someone please correct me, but like consoles don't usually make money for games for companies. It's the game sales. And so
Yeah, they were originally made as like loss leaders back in the day. Now I don't think they do that anymore. That's why you've seen console prices keep just going up. And that's like one of the theories behind it, that they don't want to take losses on the consoles themselves anymore.
Right. I mean, I guess it's a way to kind of, back when there was the whole like $80 game controversy with Mario Kart World and all that. It's like, how if they can't raise the prices, and then because there was the whole tariff thing, and then there's now there's the new AI RAM shortage that's jacking up the cost of hardware. You know, could be that they're just trying to offset some of their losses while keeping games low. Because I do think like $70 right now is kind of the threshold for a lot of people. 80. I think when they tried to push for $80, there was so much backlash. I think it'll stay 70 for at least a decade, and then it'll probably go up again.
I mean, the problem right now is that what we're looking at is like from the global market. I think it started at the beginning of this generation, before it hit like North America. But you saw in Brazil, Japan, you know, like South America, all these countries around the world were getting price increases on their consoles and games, just to kind of meet up with, you know, just the effects of COVID and then the whole market disruption. And then everything kind of just floodgated. And then, you know, games that in the past, if they sold like 3 million units, would be considered successful. Is now we're getting reports from, you know, Square Enix where it's like a game sold 5 million and it's underperforming. It's just like, geez, you know, like can you even, you know, what are you supposed to do then in this hobby where it's just like if you know 5 million is no longer successful, how bad are these budgets? And you look at the budgets, you know, like we're seeing like leaks from the you know Insomniac hacking, and a game like Spider-Man went from I think like a $70 million budget to like a $200 million budget, and then Disney, because they own the IP rights, was I think they were taking home like 50% off of all the console bundles and everything too, you know?
Yeah, I just don't. It's the same issue in the movie industry. You know, it's like you get a game like Elden Ring that was incredibly successful, made a ton of money, but it still pales in comparison to the amount of money like Diablo Immortal makes in a year. You know, it's just ridiculous how much like money does guide the industry. And
well, sorry, finish your point. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, that's pretty much it.
Well, we look at like on the inverse now, something like Pokemon. You know, Pokemon Legends ZA comes out, and I don't know if you saw this, but people were complaining that Pokemon Legends ZA cost less than the Super Bowl ad they ran, the Pokemon Company. And I was just like, I don't know what our argument is, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you. Do we want games to be made in a relatively cheaper budget and quickly, or do we want them to take 5 years to make and cost like, you know, $500 million? It's more so like, I just want to know, like when we sit down and we're having a conversation, it's like, what do gamers want? And all I learned from being on Twitter is that games could be like $5, AAA, crazy budgets and everything else. And they can even, if you open up the game, instead of a manual, it will be like a stack of hundreds, and they would still be mad that it wasn't enough. And I'm just
like even with this new Pokemon, the release of Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yeah.
I know this comment will just upset someone, or a lot of people, but like, with the whole emulation piracy debate, it's like, well, Nintendo doesn't make it. If Nintendo just made its IP available for me to purchase, then I would pay for it.
Right.
They do, and then people still like, oh, this is just slop Nintendo trying to cash in on. It's like, well, I mean, that's kind of their prerogative. They can market their IP however they want.
Yeah, it's like, why would I pay $20 when I could just steal it? I'm like, that's not an answer. That is not an answer. I'm sorry. It's just like, it's like, why would I pay for bread if I could just steal it? It's like, come on, guys. It's like, no joke. Somebody literally said to me, piracy is not a crime.
Yeah.
And I said to them, I was like, do you not know what the fucking pirates did? Do you not know what the word piracy means? Like, it's like that joke. I think it's like you have kids. There's like that one show where they're like a bunch of little kids running around doing adventures. I can't remember the name, but one of the episodes was they were pirates, and they had a little like thing that popped up and said, "Remember, good pirates don't steal from people."
Yeah,
I don't know
like something that's in kids media these days.
Yeah, that's like in Southern kids media. Obviously, they kids they will have like the adult themes, like, oh yeah, look, they're pirates, they're being silly. It's like, yeah, you're not teaching your 5-year-old to rape and murder and pillage the houses, Like, I get it, but it's just like that's what I felt like. I was like, am I talking to a child? And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
but, you were gonna say
that's a whole other topic, the emulation piracy stuff.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the news show because an emulation site just shut down, or is going to shut down. Yeah. So we got some more thoughts about that because I've talked about my thoughts of emulation. I'm like, it's not technically a crime if they don't give you to buy it,
Yes.
I always look at it. It's like, it's that gray area. It's like they still can take it down because they're IP holders.
Yeah.
But if they aren't giving you a actual way to buy it per se, then it's just like, then it's like, well, it's deadware. At that point, they're not making money off of it, so they can't really bitch about it.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's been trying to shut down piracy on the 3DS or emulation of 3DS by updating it constantly, and then they just abandon it. And like, man, if you have a 3DS, a new 3DS, you should definitely look up how to homebrew that thing. On it, because there's some like Nintendo's like completely abandoned it now, so it's just all of it's up there.
Yeah, don't do any updates too. I haven't updated mine yet because I got a bunch of 3DSs, but I'm trying to figure out which one I want to mod. I'm always worried because I got my Monster Hunter one with all my DLC on it. That I'm just so lazy. I haven't bought the memory card to transfer it over yet. That's basically it. But I'm still worried.
Don't want to lose that memory.
I don't want to lose all that Fire Emblem DLC. That's what I'm really worried about. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Atari owners aren't standing in line for the extraterrestrial.
Let's put it this way. A lot of people didn't like E.T. A lot of people who didn't even play E.T. or know anything about E.T. got into E.T. bashing. It was the...
Wow. Nothing's changed with human nature on that one.
Yeah. People like to complain.
People like to bash and join the mob. I don't blame them.
Sometimes it's justified.
Exactly. I hate AT, and I've never had an Atari. And it's been long dead, well before I was even born.
Thing to bash because E.T. became the icon of the crash. I mean, the crash was something everyone was aware of, and E.T. became a thing because when you tell a story, you can't just tell the whole story. You got to personify it. That's what they say about storytelling. So the gaming industry crashed. That's too big a story. It doesn't make sense. E.T. killed the game industry. That gives you a focus. That gives you a thing to hate. And E.T. became that.
In the winter of 1982, Atari is forced to announce crippling financial losses. Sales of its video game
edit that is right there. What an edit. That guy is an asshole. What was...
Oh man,
I gotta go back to this episode and clip that. I need
that's
that
a
as
good,
like...
that's a good image to bring up, or bite to bring up now and then.
Oh my god.
Cartridges take a nosedive.
We have E.T., for example, a wonderful love story cartridge,
contributing to a 50% drop in earnings.
What? A wonderful love story cartridge? What?
Yeah, that's weird.
That clip is out of context. I need to look that up. Like, what the fuck?
Thus, Atari, which once monopolized the charts, this week has only one of the top 5.
but business is still very good.
Mattel, the company behind Intellivision, also announces losses.
I didn't know.
And the arcade is suffering their own demise.
We filled the arcades with them, and we were starting to fill secondary locations like Safeways and 7-Elevens and dentist offices, and by the middle of 1982, we were just full.
It was a fad. I think there's no other way to put it. It was like early rock and roll, really. Enough people started coming and enough companies started making games, it just kept growing, and people, built bigger and bigger ones until finally, the whole thing just sort of collapsed under its own weight.
Starting in 1982 or so, a single quarter was not enough revenue for a game to earn for a 2-minute.
Like, just imagine this guy like talking to you as he's murdering you. That's what it sounds like, man. Imagine, if you will, this knife goes under your skin. Oh, okay, thank you, Mark.
Period. We ultimately figured out that we needed a buck, and we don't have dollar coins in the States. A buck is a big spend. It's not a casual spend.
A massive influx of new games leaves distributors overwhelmed with products, and even quality games are getting lost in the struggle for shelf and advertising space.
Yep. The problem was there was just too much product out there. You have dozens and dozens of software companies releasing garbage.
A lot of what killed Atari was an incredible number of companies getting into the business producing incredibly bad games.
There was too much product for store shelves. They had to start being marked down.
We said, oh, they're all going to go out of business, but we didn't recognize what that meant. And what that meant was when they all went out of business, all that product would flood the retail shelves.
Most of those games wound up being sold at $2 and $3 a piece at discounters.
And
now some of them are worth thousands.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about that.
Good investment there.
All right.
We are coming out with $30 or $40 products.
No matter how good a game was, it was very difficult to sell a game for $30, $40 when you could go in.
That's so wild to think about. $30 and $40 back then. And then, like now, we're talking about $70.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like if you, back when the $80 thing, when the Nintendo Switch 2 was releasing, the people were sharing, inflation prices from back in the day, and an NES would cost you around $500 if it matched the inflation.
It's scaling. That's really what it was. It's scaling.
Also, you do have to take into account like the average income of a family back then and what they could spend their money on. So it's not like a silver bullet for that argument, but it's just something to think about.
Well, it's like back then. It's like a teenager, could get a job and work for like $3 an hour.
Yeah.
Like I don't. And your dad, like he could probably get a job right now. If he was making $20 an hour, he was really probably upper middle class. Back in the day.
Yep.
Nowadays I make $30-something an hour, and even then it's just sometimes I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
I need to make better choices in life.
Yeah.
For $30, $40 and get 15 games, even if they were all terrible.
And Johnny's dad goes in at Christmas and he can buy him 8 cartridges or he can buy him 1 cartridge. And he says, well, I don't know the difference. I'll buy him these 8 that are in the front bin and wrap up more gifts for Christmas.
Very true to this day.
Ours that were still frontline good products and didn't sell.
You have these third-party companies, can't sell their stuff, they're going out of business. What do? They dump all their goods at cutthroat prices. Now you can get games for $5.
It was a very difficult paradigm for them to beat.
It was really the demise of the business, and we unfortunately didn't see it coming.
And the lack of foresight on the technology front further cripples the industry.
Even in the 2600, the day we shipped the first one, I
Nolan
told
Bushnell.
the guys at Warner, I said, this product, you know, is over.
He's got an episode dedicated to him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to. You know what the hardest part about doing the show is? Trying to find people who want to sit down and do the devs. You know, like no one really knows who Nolan Bushnell is unless you, you know, are really like a nerd. You know, there's another guy out there, Bruce Snelly, is one that I want to do an episode on, and Bruce Snelly is the guy who was basically the founder of Age of Empires and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. I'd like to learn more about it. I mean, the only devs from back then that I follow a few on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who designed Donkey Kong Country, and I think that's it. Or the one who I forget his name. Why did I forget his name? He made Fallout. He has a YouTube channel.
Oh crap! I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, that's not his name. Oh, fuck. I was going to
really
say Peter Moore, but I know that's not right.
It's really interesting to listen to some of those guys talk because they've been in the industry for decades and decades, and just hear them talk about how things have changed over the years. It's interesting. I'd like to learn more about, you know, how these guys thought and what they put into their games.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years or 4. We've got to start designing, you know, the Stella 2. And they just didn't get it. They thought that, oh, how can that be?
Look at Atari basketball.
This is a commercial like I was talking about.
Again, I find in television more sophisticated.
And it turns out that not innovating led to the demise of Atari in 1982, 83. And they just didn't see it. Just didn't see it.
In September of 1983, in the middle of the night, 20 tractor trailers leave an Atari warehouse loaded with millions of unsold game cartridges. They are driven to a remote site in Alamogordo, New Mexico, where the games are crushed and buried.
Wasn't that told to not be true though? Like, isn't that like
don't know.
an actual urban legend?
Yeah, that does sound like an urban legend. The
'cause
holy grail of retro video gamers.
You know, I guarantee you, like, I think there was like some truth to it, but I think it's been vastly over exaggerated. But I do appreciate the little video game icon of like a Mayflower truck just coming in with all these games and dumping them in the middle of the desert. I do appreciate that.
In the fall of 1983, only a year after analysts were predicting record profits for the video game industry, the bottom had dropped out.
Did I mention the tar pits?
Atari, the industry leader, posted a $356 million loss for the second quarter alone.
Well, rode the wave a little bit. Really crashed after Christmas of '83. And Activision sales plummeted. I mean, just plummeted by 84, 85. Probably went to a fifth of what they were.
If you're going to spend your time playing video games, get a Commodore 64 or...
And we went on to the Commodore 64 because the 2600 was gone and there was no coming back. There actually was, that's another story. But at the time, you thought there was no coming back.
If you think ColecoVision plays all Atari cartridges, you mean it can't?
In an attempt to jumpstart the failing industry, Atari releases the 5200,
Now you're talking.
updating the technology behind their aging system. But many believe it's too little, too late.
Super system.
Much of the public can't grasp the need for a new system.
Of course, when the 2600's lifespan ran out and they had to go to the 5200, the American consumer went, wait a minute, I've had the same record player for 25 years. I've had the same television set for 25 years. Why are you suddenly telling me now that after like 4 years, 5 years, I've got to trade in this game system for a whole...
That is a very interesting perspective that I didn't even think about too.
Yeah.
You know, they built stuff to last, is the old saying, but at the same
Yes,
time,
yeah.
it does lead to stagnation.
Yep.
But when it comes to video games and stuff like that, you know, there wasn't that innovation because you were also kind of limited by the technology and the people around you too. You know,
Yeah.
you had to train the consumer, I guess, to move on. I wonder, like the only comparison I could think of is like, well, he's talking about like a record player. It was like 8-track and you know, cassette tapes and laser discs and all that stuff. Well, there's a reason why a lot of those things were quickly adapted and some just outright died too.
Yeah.
Whole new game system was a very difficult concept to get across. That began the great backslide where the industry died for 2 years.
To make matters worse, home video game systems are now facing competition from personal computers. With the drop in price and increase in power, PCs officially take the lead.
Games fell into decline, just in terms of perception. I'll give you an example. Our publisher actually told us at one point, I used these exact words, he said, please try to avoid using words like games and fun in the articles you write. Because now everything had to be a simulation. It was like people would be more interested in running a simulation of a dairy farm than they were going to be in playing Breakout.
Oh, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't.
With all these simulation games we got now, he was
Yeah.
forward thinking, that guy. He wasn't wrong. He was just ahead of his time.
I saw someone live streaming like a trucker simulator game.
Yeah, they
And I
really
was
get
like,
into that shit.
Yeah, man.
It's like, oh, you know, my stepdad is a trucker, so I grew up around those trucks. And I'm just like, man, what have you ever considered just getting a CDL? you know, actually make money doing this if this is what you really like, you know? It's like they spent like hundreds of thousands on these like proto like fake rigs, and it's just like, damn, dude, like just you can make money, you know?
But that was the feeling was that we've now moved past video games. We're now into computers, and all computers should do is create educational simulations.
The rise of personal computers affected video games in a number of ways. It allowed users to do more. I mean, the keyboard instrument allowed people to do things they couldn't before in games. Like, you have all these functions on the keyboard.
Many of the companies who a year earlier were so desperate to get into the business of making games were now just as desperate to distance themselves from it. February 1984, Mattel announces it will sell Intellivision off for $20 million. In March 1984, Odyssey closes its doors. And finally, on July 2nd, 1984, Warner Communications agrees to sell Atari.
What a fall right there, man.
Yeah.
The game companies start to vanish. People begin to think of video games as having only been a fad, which would soon disappear. But thanks to Japanese game company Nintendo, those people are wrong.
By 85, 86, when the Nintendo came out, I must tell you, when I first looked at it, I was not impressed. I did not think that this was going to bring back video gaming. Yet it did, because people wanted that simplicity.
The Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, gave gamers better graphics, better games, and single-handedly revived the home console market.
The one thing that we always like to try to do is try to create games that people who have never played games before can pick up and try out and immediately enjoy and have fun with.
Nintendo.
Yeah, when we did that episode on Gunpei Yokoi, Brian and me, they laid it all out there that the reason why the NES is called the Nintendo Entertainment System is because they were also doing the distancing themselves from video games in the Western market.
Right, yeah.
And that's why it looks like a VCR more than an actual video game console.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
Like, it's interesting because like you listen to that journalist and he's like, don't say it's fun. Don't say it's a game, you know?
Even back then, they try to, I don't know, shift the mindset of people.
Yeah, or they're always looking to like they're like trying to train the audience, but try to also get play like odds maker. Like, okay, this is going to be what the audience wants now. This is what they want.
Right.
Video games are failing. They don't obviously want video games. They want something else. And
right.
No, they just want innovation. That's what it really and that's what they're basically saying Nintendo did.
Turned the industry around with big franchises, games that people really wanted to play, likable characters like Super Mario.
And from the beginning, Nintendo was careful to avoid the mistakes of their American counterparts. To set themselves apart, game packs replace game cartridges, and robots are added.
Now, the manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they have approval over the games. They look at the games and say, is this good enough? Is this of a quality to be on our system?
Nintendo reinvented the world. Nintendo showed that people still wanted entertainment, they still wanted fun, and they still wanted games.
And the games do go on.
That's good edit right there.
Today, nearly 145 million people play games. An industry that nearly faded now enjoys even greater popularity and keeps growing. But has the game industry learned from its mistakes?
No. Correct answer is no. They just find new
I'd like
ones.
to think that the console industry won't crash again, but you never know. I think something that companies have learned from the crash of 1983 was that don't put all of your eggs in one basket.
No, they have
Don't
not.
bank on just one game.
No,
Make
they
sure
have
you
not.
have, a safety net below you.
No,
with a
they
couple
have
of
not.
games that, will help you get by. You can't rely on just one game anymore. It's all about diversifying your lineup.
That's wrong.
And making sure you have a little something for everybody,
Oh,
just
you
in
naive
case gamers
smart
go,
child.
I don't want that anymore. This is what I want. Hopefully you have that too.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Sweet summer child. Did you not? You would be very, very
But
sad.
I don't know. Like some of these big games fail so spectacularly, like Concord,
Mm-hmm.
and that hundreds of millions of dollars lost. But people just get, I don't know, developers just get laid off. The companies are still around,
So
I don't know.
here's the thing. So Mike says over here, we are heading that crash again. Maybe. I think I understand what you're saying. A little misspelled there, but the thing is, I don't necessarily agree. I've said this many times. I've been vocal about it. I don't think we're heading towards a crash, but we're heading for a long overdue realignment. I think a lot of the issues that we saw in gaming right now was, a lot of people always say like, oh, you can't keep blaming COVID. Well, during COVID, all these companies overspent. We have actual documents that prove that they went out, they got too big on the high of the COVID, push. Game sales were artificially inflated, and they hopped on that trend. One of the things I like to point out to people is everyone loves Doom, right? Everyone loves Doom. Doom 2016 did not sell as well as you think it really did. Right? Doom Eternal sold way more, and the reason why? COVID. Everyone was playing Animal Crossing. COVID.
Yep.
We were stuck at home. Some people got stimulus checks, and that's what a lot of people did.
Spend it.
And what happened is they hired more devs. They had to increase the budget cost for these games. They had remote places to do their work. They have remote work, I should say. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And a lot of the industry, you could tell, like, prior to COVID, was getting ready to gear up for the next gen. They were moving on. They were hiring all these devs to kind of go at the launch. Well, the launch of this current generation happened to go with the biggest pandemic in our lifetimes. I'm gonna say that, unless somebody's still alive from the Spanish flu. All right,
Yep.
But
that's a good point. Yeah.
We're seeing like a lot of stuff, and I think everyone could talk about, like, we all have comments and everything about the video game industry, And one of the things that we've always said is that these games are over budgeted. These studios are way too big. They can't maintain these projects because they're on like 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10-year life cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 10 years. That's a third of my life, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a long time to be working on a project to have no tangible outcome. And last week we were watching a clip from this guy Mark Ball, I think is his name. And he was talking about like what video games have working against them is that there's no immediate return on investment for a lot of these venture capitalists, as in something like, say, a BuzzFeed or something,
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
So there's a lot more risk to go into video games because the dev time does matter. We're not cranking out Halo 3 in 6 weeks, all right? We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Even with AI, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
go on.
It's just such an interesting market because you got. I mentioned earlier I think the number is like 15,000 indie games put up on Steam.
Yeah.
A year. It's a very, very small amount of them actually get noticed or make any money whatsoever.
Right.
But those aren't like the big companies. Steam does have a bottleneck on PC gaming for sure. And I'm not even sure where else you could put on the Switch for sure. You could do that.
Oh, they do make it on the Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, Epic, GOG.
That's true.
They're going to end up in a lot of places. Shovelware will always be shovelware. There's those like video game companies that literally will make dollar games just for achievement and trophy hunters, just to scrape up a little bit of income from that are just basic shovelware games. But hey, I got 1,000 gamer score, or hey, I got that platinum trophy. Let's add it to my list. Now I'm deleting and move on.
Yeah. Well, what I was about to say though was. The marketing really matters, but then immediately what came to mind was the whole High Guard debacle that came out.
Yeah.
It's like if a game is bad, no amount of marketing can really force it upon the populace. People are going to notice it and compare, for what if it's a AAA game, they expect a certain amount of
return
from it.
Yeah.
And just because you get a shout out in one of the biggest gaming shows in the world doesn't necessarily mean your game is going to succeed.
No, you're the biggest problem I always say to people is like you never know what's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
It is physically impossible for you to tell me what a hit's going to be. You can have an idea of what a hit will be when it's like a sequel or something, because that means you already have a well-known established brand.
Yeah.
That's what really matters too. When people say like, why don't we have too many new IPs? And the real thing is I always counter back is because you don't buy them and play them, And I'll also counter back too is like, and not all of them are good.
Yeah.
Just because something's new and interesting and different doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's new and different and maybe mildly interesting. But are you really going to get into it and try to play it as much?
Yeah. I mean, everyone knew Silksong was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
Nobody knew Hollow Knight would be a hit.
Right.
It just happened to have that. It had the right marketing, luck. Also happened to be a really, really good game, like really well designed game, and they could ride on that for 8 years, develop the next one, and knew instantly it was going to be a big hit.
Well, like those guys probably don't have to work a day in their lives ever again, too. Hollow Knight sold millions upon millions of copies. Yep. They got physical game right deals with like other people. It's on every platform that you can think of.
Yep.
And it probably, I think the dev team was only like 5 people.
Yeah, and they threw the gaming world a solid and made it Silksong $20.
Yeah,
they didn't have to do that. They could have they could have made it 40. People would have bought it. I would have bought it for 40. But
yeah,
I don't know. That to me is an example of some like a development team that feels like they care more about the art than actually making money off of it, because they could have made double the money at least.
Yeah, and but I would counterpoint with this is like it's only 5 people. You know what I mean? They don't have to worry about appeasing the shareholders. They don't have 250 devs working underneath them.
Yep.
You know, they definitely made their fucking bag just
Yeah.
off of Hollow Knight. Like Hollow Knight was only $20 a pop, and you know, let's just say 5 million times 20. You know, after the platforms take the cuts and everything, taxes. You know, like they're all, you know,
They're good.
millionaires. They're
Yeah.
millionaires. You know,
They can take 8 years, and it's funny because took them 8 years. They made another masterpiece of I think Silksong is a masterpiece, and then
Yeah.
you got something like Metroid Prime 4 come out, and man, that game.
I mean, yeah, and to be fair, we know that game was in development hell.
Yes, it was.
You know,
It was.
that we knew right away that it was. It's one of those things where it's like we're happy it came out, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
And
that kind of going back to your earlier point of like fans buying, like I'm a big fan of the Metroid series,
Mhm.
even if like I knew people were saying the game wasn't that great before I bought it, but I bought it because I'm a fan of the Metroid series, and even if I know it's going to be horrible, I still want to play it. You know, I want to experience it for myself. So there's that whole like fan base thing.
I feel like here's the thing though, when somebody goes like, "Oh, it's horrible," like what does that mean? Because like I think when we see a 7, like a lot of people think 7 is like mediocre, mid,
Yeah.
and it's like it's average. I look at it as average. I look at it as a C grade. You know, it's passing. You've done enough to do a job that is considered passable.
Yep.
And then, but it's just like some people like take a 7 and it's just like, oh man, this game
it's not
doesn't
worth
work
my
at
time.
all. Yeah, it's dog shit. It's like, what are we doing here? I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, in my own personal scoring for Metroid Prime 4, I think I give it like a 3 or a 4, honestly. And yeah, but you are right. When people see 7 or even like a 6, there's some to give it a score like that. There it has to be some redeeming aspects to it.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's I try to look at it as like on the American grade scale. I wish people would just give it like a letter grade, you know,
Yeah.
like an A, B, C, D, and then F is just obviously it's just terrible, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the reason like a 7 is viewed as like not good now is because the video game market is rather oversaturated, and there's
Mhm.
so many good games. Like, why would you play a game that's rated a 7 when you could play this game that's almost an exact copy rated an 8? You know,
Mhm.
every game is competing for the time of the consumer. So I think because there's so many games and so many choices out there, you're going to have this kind of like almost weird. I don't know if grade inflation is the right word for it, but grade deflation
On a curve.
Yeah. Like a 7 isn't going to cut it anymore. You need at least a 9, and you need the marketing.
Oh, AC over here, 3 or 4 for Prime. Holy smokes!
Yeah. Thank you, Timmy.
but like you're saying, like at the same time, it all comes back to like your personal consumer. You know, it's just like what does that person think and believe, and
Mhm.
how they want to spend your time. One of the things out there is South of Midnight.
Mhm.
It was a game that came out last year from Microsoft Studios.
Yeah.
And I like the artwork design of it, the claymation. I thought it had a very interesting premise and story. Kind of what they were working with. I like to give those games a chance. Like I
Right.
like the creepy supernatural stuff. You
Mhm.
know, that's just who I am personally, and I want to try to see what this game is trying to do. I
Mhm.
have a lot of gripes with that game. I don't think it's, you know, the best. I said it's a C minus. It
Mhm.
does a lot of stuff really well, but the biggest problem with that game is they don't know what kind of game they were trying to make with it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think giving it a C minus means like there's potential here, but you really need to focus a little bit more, and you could probably do it. You know?
And if we were going to give a letter grade to like Metroid Prime 4, I'd think a C minus is there, because I'd say the same thing about it. There's a lot of potential there. Game looks great, sounds great.
Mhm.
There's some moments of like, this is fun, but then there's some the cons definitely outweigh and drag.
You're
down the
getting in
pros.
your own way, basically.
Yes, exactly. And kind of the game tried to do too much, I think.
Mhm.
And when it kind of goes to this problem in the industry where games are trying to appeal to a wider audience. That's kind of the phrase where, Metroid has always been a niche, not genre, a niche series,
Franchise.
But franchise. But even still, like many games, as they grow, they have to kind of evolve and change. Like Resident Evil 4, people didn't like it because of the big change to the gameplay, but the game is incredible. So like you can do it. You can change a game to appeal to a wider audience and still make it work. But like Resident Evil 4 knew what it wanted to be and it did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then some games, they just try to do too much. They try to retain the old and do the new and then do this and then do that. And then it ends up appealing to nobody.
I feel like the problem is that gamers are fickle. Everything I listen to from all these shows I've been doing, you listen to all the devs, from, the Peter Molyneux to the Shinji Mikamis to, so on and so forth. Like you listen to these devs, what do they want to do? They want to push the envelope. They want as many people playing these games as they possibly can. They don't go out there trying to kind of make a niche franchise a niche franchise. They want it to be big, and then where the cards fall, and then you go from there. So when you look at a lot of people right now, I think it's all about perspective. So everyone kind of tells me right now, like Pokemon's like fucked up, it's dead, it's terrible, no one loves it anymore at all. And I just look at those people who make that argument, and I just go, based off of what? Like, what is your metric that you use that something is not as good as it used to be? Mm-hmm. And, I get really annoyed personally, because this is kind of like a pet peeve of mine. I haven't played a Pokemon game since insert Gen 1, 2, 3. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played a game in 20 fucking years, okay? But I'm going to tell you, the person who's played all these games, who keeps up on the news, who keeps up on all the data, that you're wrong and you're stupid. And I'm going like, okay, can we come back down to like just a center area? All right, let's just look eye to eye with each other. You can't call me stupid because I'm more informed than you. And you can have your opinion that you don't like the new stuff, which is fine, because I'm not saying you have to go out there and buy it. You like the old gen stuff. A lot of people do agree with you. Go ahead. That's fine. But to say like Pokemon is dead and it's terrible now, I think I looked up the data before. The Switch is the best selling Pokemon machine of all time.
Yeah. Didn't Scarlet and Violet sold like 90 million copies in like a few days?
Did not sell that. If they sold that much, it would be insane.
Or 9 million, sorry.
But they're 9. Like Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield are number 2 and 3 best selling Pokemon games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They only beat out by Red and Blue. Those are the only ones that have beat them. So Gen 1 still has that lead. But every game on the Nintendo Switch that was for Pokemon related stuff, I think has sold about 155 million games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the Switch. That's leaving out every other generation prior.
Yeah.
And you're talking about what people say are like the 2 worst Pokemon games of all time, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. They're number 2 and number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Pokemon is the biggest, functioning IP of all time right now. And they don't even make the most off of the video games, which is, I think, a little cope argument, I would like to say. Because it's true, you're right. Pokemon is now like a multi-brand kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you can't say the video games aren't making the money and then also complain that, like, Pokemon ZA had a budget less than the Super Bowl ad,
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pokemon has going for it is all the like other things surrounding it too, and it has the kids market. Like I think Pokemon games in general, there is a base level quality. So it's one thing to say that it's okay. The last Pokemon game I played was Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I played a Pokemon game.
No,
I think
that's
the last
fair.
one I played was Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. But I'm really excited to. I was disappointed when I downloaded Fire Red, and then I was like, oh, I have to wait for it to actually release because I really wanted to play it.
I know that's the terrible part about digital downloads. Like, why can't I just play it now?
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
There's so many different like aspects to it. It's like one, like you and I, we do this internet stuff as like a hobby, but there are people on. So I'd say we're online more than most, and there's the online chatter around stuff, and then there's reality. you know, like I know that, like I only know about Scarlet and Violet, what the online world says about it. I haven't played it myself. Is it really as buggy as people say?
Yes,
it is?
yes. I
Okay.
have no problem saying that it definitely had a lot of issues that were, you could tell that they just were trying to make a game better and bigger. Like, I like Scarlet and Violet in terms of a Pokemon game. I say it's probably a top 5 Pokemon game
Oh,
if you
wow.
could get it to run and work properly. They do a lot of cool stuff. I like the terraforming or the terramaxing, whatever, I forget what it's called. Terrestrialization, that's what it is.
Mhm.
I think it adds a lot to the VGC gameplay. I like the Paradox Pokemon that they add in there. I thought it's very interesting, fresh, unique ways to, bring to life some older Pokemon, give them a new form, and make them look cooler. I think the story is actually pretty more mature, speaking, for Pokemon games, and I think a lot of people could say that they're kind of, cutesy and whimsical and kids like, but I think it, from going from Sword and Shield to this, was better. But it had a lot of tech issues, and I got a Switch 2, and everywhere I see online says that a Switch 2 vastly improves that performance. So I've been working my way through the Pokemon games. Last year, I got up to Sun and Moon. So I haven't gotten to the new generation. I just stopped short of Sword and Shield. So now that I have all these games and a Switch 2, I want to go back and play them again to see if that actually does make a difference.
Yeah.
And then there's also arguments online, like, what is a mainline Pokemon game? People consider ZA a spin-off game, but ZA technically is a mainline game.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, I mean, I could see, it was them trying to do something new. And again, I only played Arceus. I thought it was great. I thought it was a ton of fun. I wish it was more. I wish it was less segmented. I was kind of hoping for like a Breath of the Wild Pokemon game.
No, I could get that. It feels like they're getting close to doing that.
Yeah, and I hope they do, because that would be. I'd play that.
I feel like the problem with like a Pokemon game is that you want a Pokemon game to work where you're in the wild just capturing Pokemon off trees and stuff like that. But I do feel like it's a lot harder to kind of capture that when you have a base Switch engine and you have to account for all these different models and interactions and how they do their attacks and figure that out. It's almost like Fallout with a creation engine or Skyrim, where it's like that engine has to account for many random spawnings, many different variables, and a lot of people get mad that, oh, why isn't Pokemon doing more to spend on like their battle animations? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like one of the big complaints I see from some Pokemon fans. I go, do we really need to invest a lot of time and effort into tackle a move that you're going to get rid of right away for something cooler?
I remember that. I remember Pokemon Red, tackle was just like a little like, and then Body Slam was like
A
but the
bigger
screen
push.
flashed.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh man, that hit hard.
Yeah, and like I said, I played up to the 3DS era last year. Like, started with Pokemon Green, and ran into the nightmare fuel sprites of that game, and then I went to Pokemon Yellow, and I went to Pokemon, Crystal, and so on and so forth. I went through all the generations, and like you could see, how this game evolved, and it still is evolving.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to just the biggest problem when we talk about criticism and, like, what we're saying, like, what's a 7? Is that there's a lot of people that just make, as I like to say, reductive arguments when it comes down to explaining a game. Like, when people talk about Pokemon with me, I'm going to stick with the theme here. They go like, oh, it's just a little kid go around capturing Pokemon, fight big bad monster. I'm like, yeah, and I can make Halo sound like ass if I just go, oh, yeah, this dude runs around and just shoots aliens.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if I make a bullet point argument and I am bereft of, actual points, and I just say, the most reductive, straight to the point, kind of like the joke is like, explain your favorite video game badly.
Yeah.
that's what I feel like a lot of arguments online is just a lot of people just explaining their favorite video games badly, or
Yeah, a lot of gameplay loops to our favorite games, if you reduce them down to their core elements, are really simple.
Oh yeah,
like
of course.
Halo, you run around and shoot things. Done.
Yeah.
Have you ever the Game Grumps, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. They have that their other channel is Starbomb, where they make video game music.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one, the simple plot of Final Fantasy VII, or the simple plot of Metal Gear Solid, and it's just a funny song about how these games, they come on to the show and they explain their simple plot, but then somehow Solid Snake's on there and he tries to explain the plot simply and he can't do it, and at the end he's like, you sneak around and save the world. The end.
Yeah, basically it's like every stealth game could be summed up that way. You sneak around levels to the end of level.
Yeah. Well, I recently played Metal Gear, the first one, for NES. I didn't stream it. I did get some gameplay footage, but the gameplay loop is the same as the newer games. You sneak around, get behind bad guys, you collect items. It's still the core elements of the game still exist in the NES version of it. It's just, the technology around it has grown. So it's the same as Pokemon, I imagine.
I say this to everyone. Think of your favorite video game of all time, all right? Think of when the first time you played that video game. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, not many franchises deviate that drastically in terms of innovation or how they play. You go play Call of Duty 2 right now on your Xbox 360 or PS3, wherever you're at. Go play it now. I guarantee you, if you go and play the newest Call of Duty, you will still feel a lot of that DNA from Call of Duty 2 right there, just with some added bells and whistles.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Halo. It's the same thing with Pokemon. I can go back in time and I can play the very first iteration of that video game that I played, and I can play the newest update to it, and 9 times out of 10, you will still have that nostalgic feeling. You just got older, you got smarter, you know how to do things because you played this game so many times.
Yep.
And on top of that too, now you got the advantage of all the new bells and whistles and quality of life improvements, and it's going to change. I mean, if you look at some games like Mario and Metroid and all that stuff, like Nintendo seems to at least take more drastic changes with their first party IP.
Yeah, they take more risks.
Because you got your side-scrolling Marios, you got your 3D adventure Mario, you got your Mario RPGs. Like which Mario do you like the most?
Yeah. Sorry, I meant to ask this a few minutes ago. Is Pokemon your favorite video game franchise, or like what's your favorite? I'm curious.
My favorite video game of all time is Mass Effect 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I knew that.
Yeah, but I'm an eclectic gamer. Mm-hmm. I think if I had to go with on Fuse, I have my top 10 video games of all time, and the games on that top 10 that I can remember off the top of my head are Monster Hunter World, Rome Total War, Age of Empires 2, obviously Mass Effect 2, KOTOR, Dave the Diver, Yakuza Kiwami 2, Skyrim, and 2 more I'm blanking off the top of my head. But that's my top 5, my top 10 right there is RTS games, RPGs, JRPGs, first person. Oh, Halo 3. Halo 3 would be on there as well.
Such a good game.
Yeah, great game. I love the Halo series. I have all my Xboxes are Halo editions. That's the funny part about it.
More games. Anger Canadian says you have more games started than finished. Is that true?
I have more games I haven't even played surrounding me right now than I have played. All right. He's not necessarily wrong that I have more games I've started than finished, but at the same time, it's it's just life happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get it. Trust me.
Because I think we could all regret, he can relate too, and you can as well. We're all married men, and there's a lot of times where I'll be playing a video game and my wife's sitting next to me, and I go man, I'm such a fucking terrible husband. It's just I could be doing something with her, you know, like I could take her to go do stuff. Instead, here she is, just wrapped up in a blanket on her phone, scrolling. You know, like, wow, I married a fucking loser, didn't I? You know.
I mean, I sometimes like we were, you know, when you got kids, you get tired, and both of you laying in bed at night and watching a show, and
yeah,
she's got her phone playing a little phone game, and I'm playing my Switch, and it's all right. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, like you all have your like, yeah, like, you know, you've settled in, and you know, me and my wife, we've been married for almost like 7 years now. It's so crazy to think how time flies.
Yeah, it does.
But like you also run into that routine where it's just like you get home from work, you're tired. You know, we don't have kids, but now you have kids, so you got that added layer. Then it's like, oh, we gotta take out the dog. Oh, we gotta do this. Oh, we gotta clean all the clothes. We gotta wash all the dishes. You know, you don't have mom and dad to do it anymore to free up that extra time. And we don't have the summer break and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny because all that added extra responsibility, and I felt this even before I had kids. My gaming habits would be, I didn't want to start a big RPG or big open world game because I knew it would take an hour or two to get into it. I just wanted to jump right in. I didn't want to learn a new UI. I didn't want to learn a new battle system. And I think it was just, I became more impatient as an adult gamer. And
no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I had to force myself to get into Witcher 3. I tried, and I didn't actually enjoy playing it for a couple hours into it because I hadn't learned, everything still felt so new and I wasn't having fun yet. But once I did, it's now one of my favorite games. You know, sometimes I have to force myself to really just power through those first few hours where I'm not really having fun.
Yeah, and as I've been getting older, and when I talk to people about playing video games, one of the things I'd like to talk about is the audio design. That's like a big one. I've started to be more like in tune with you know how they do the sound and how everything sounds. But another thing I like to tell people, especially because a lot of my friends, they have kids, and time is what you're saying is, are video games easy to pick up and put down? Can I start them and play maybe 15 minutes and then get put down because I gotta go do something or something like that. So the games like Diablo 4, games like Dave the Diver, games like Monster Hunter Stories, actually, they're really good handheld games. You can play for maybe 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, get a mission or two done, and then it's like, okay, now I got to go. It was like I've been procrastinating while the wife's getting ready for work or getting ready to go out with us, and now I can stop what I'm doing because I've reached a point in the game where I don't have to worry about that. No, you're fine.
I got a bird clock.
No, that's fine. It's pretty cool though. But yeah, just it's stuff like that where it's just like you said, we need to prioritize time differently. I can't get into, massively multiplayer online games. I can't do those commitments. I can't. My PvP days with video games is pretty much done. But
yeah, me too.
But a lot of people can still play the PvP games because it also fits that mold. I could play one game, one round, or two. They take about like 10 to 15 minutes each, and then it's like, okay, now I got to go to work. Now I got to do stuff. Now I could be a good husband and clean the gutters and shit like that.
I got 15 minutes. I can play around of Pokemon Unite. You play that game?
Yeah, like I said. And we're seeing the rise of handheld devices. PlayStation has a Portal, obviously the Switch, Microsoft's ROG Ally, Steam Deck, all this stuff that's happening in cloud gaming and that. And it is adding to that ability where, like you said, you could sit in bed at night and you can play 15, 20 minutes before you turn off the light and go to sleep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handheld gaming definitely has become more. Well, before I started doing the streaming, I definitely more handheld, for sure, because I sunk an ungodly amount of hours into Slay the Spire to play that game.
My buddy's excited about the second one, but I know of it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's being able to pick it up and put it down, because sometimes you got to do that rather quickly. Mm-hmm. And even the streaming too, I have to be like, I stream at 4:45 in the morning. That's when I try to start, and not a little after 6 is when I stop, because that's really the only time I got, and it's fun. I love it, but I do miss those. I do miss those days when I could spend a bit more time playing. It'd be nice to have a 3-hour block just to play a game. Like I'm supposed to. Resident Evil 9 comes out tonight, and I'm toying with the idea of waking up extra early just so I can get in a good 2 hours.
Right.
To kind of get into the game.
I know that feeling. The last game that had me like that was Hellblade 2, and I kept waking up in the middle of the night. It's like, is it ready to play? Go back to sleep for an hour. Wake up. Is it ready to play? Go back to sleep for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's coming out in an hour. It'll be available in the Central Time Zone in an hour, and I'm wondering if maybe I should do my first stream tonight, stay up late, and just sleep in tomorrow, or wake up early and do it. I don't know.
Yeah, the trade-off. That's the one thing I will say about streaming. I like doing it because I do like talking about video games, and I do like having people on and having that fun time. Just like we're doing right now, just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. It's just I also want to play video games so I can talk about these video games and keep up with the video games I'm talking about.
It's hard to keep up with it. I feel like for someone, I want to be part of the conversation. I love video games. They're part of the culture, and I think it's important to talk about them and discuss them critically.
Right.
But because of that, I feel like I should be playing more.
Right. It's the catch-22.
I just can't. Unless somehow miraculously this turns into a career and I start making money off of it. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But I can at least do what I can and play some big games and do retro gaming and,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like you're saying, like you try to go I could stream them and play video games, and that's how I'll play video games,
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for me, I don't like game streaming that much. It's not because I think I'm bad at video games, so I think I'm boring to watch. but B, to me, I look at it as like an intimate thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like watching anime with my wife. I don't like watching TV shows with my wife or movies with my wife or anything like that. Because for me, it's just like when I was growing up, and this is just kind of who I became. 1 second here. Something like randomly just did not. It's just something was giving me audio feedback. It scared me. But like I was saying, like when I grew up, it's like I was kind of alone at night because my dad, he'd be passed out drunk, so I'd be up until 2, 3 a.m. Just, entertaining myself any way possible. So I guess I kind of just got used to just sitting there and like getting lost in like, the sauce, as they would say, of just enjoying like playing a video game by myself, playing a single player games, really getting invested in the stories and stuff like that. Like the whole fan crafting and fan theory stuff like that. That's the stuff I love.
Yeah, that reminds me, one of my favorite quotes about video games. I'm slowly making my way through this game design book, Rules of Play. It's more about like game design philosophy, and they have this quote. It says, culture has a surprising way of moving back and forth between trivial and profound, and one person's harmless waste of time might be another's bid for transcendence. It's like, it means different things for different people. Different gaming as a whole can mean something different for someone else than person A than person B, but also like within that you have different singular games mean something that, like for me, that game, like many others, Ocarina of Time is a special game. It holds a lot of nostalgia, but I also played it during one of my formative years, and when I think of like the hero's journey and just the classic good versus evil, I go right to that game. It means something to me on a level higher than just this is a game I enjoyed. I'm sure you're going to. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but I'm pretty sure.
I get what you're saying, 100%. And another thing too is you're doing a good job. I would say that for sure. But like another thing that I would mention is, I've said this before to many other people. The reason why so many fans get attached and protective of these IPs is they also give them happy memories.
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
Another, like I just talked about a little bit last night with Neo when we were doing our video game show together, talk about the games we played and what we think. I remember exactly this memory. My mom, for my birthday, took me to see Godzilla 98 in theaters. And then she took me to, I believe it was like the Kmart that was right by it. Yep. She took me to the Kmart or Target or whatever it was at the time. I can't remember the exact store. One of the big box stores.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to the video game section, and she bought me, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. No. And I have memories of playing Star Wars Shadows of the Empire as a kid. I can remember these levels. I know them all by heart. Like, I could close my eyes and I can see the level,
Yeah.
And there are people like that too. It's like, well, my grandma bought me this game for Christmas. Well, my dad bought me this game, and we played it together because he was a big, boxing guy, and we were like played the boxing game together.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here. Not everyone's fortunate to still have their grandparents around. Not everyone's still fortunate to have their parents around even.
Yep.
And they conflate a lot of those like memories, as core memories. Like Inside Out.
Yeah.
They do a good job with showing that, and it was one of Pixar's one of their last really really well done films.
Yep.
And a lot of that gets twisted, and then you get into the political stuff, the people who take over the IPs, the cash grabs, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say, and you have your memories kind of twisted by, well, I love Star Wars, but now it's terrible, and I conflate that to my dad, and my dad and me, we went to the theater when I was 5, and now my dad's gone, and now the Star Wars is terrible, and I can't have that same experience with my son now, or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And I get it. It's terrible when that happens, but at the same time, I think the one thing I always try to remember, because I used to be like that for a while, and then one day I just realized I'm in my 30s now, I'm married, I have actual problems. I know that sounds bad, and I'm trying to be funny, but it just kind of dawned on me. It's I'm a 30-something-year-old man. Yep. I don't have to go see the fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I don't have to waste my time, my very precious time anymore, dealing with crap. And it just reminds me of all the people who are upset at J.K. Rowling, and they've made being a Harry Potter fan part of their identity. And I just remember what we used to say to them. It's it's okay to read another book.
Yeah.
And I kind of just said it's okay for me to just say yeah, I like Star Wars from this point in time, and I don't like this new stuff, and I could go back and still enjoy the older stuff. But if I want to continue to still have fun in this hobby, and as a person like myself who is an eclectic gamer who likes every type of genre, why would I want to be miserable all the time that this series is bad now? When I could just go and there's so many series I didn't experience before, and there's so many new series that are coming out that are still fun and interesting, then I could go join them.
Yeah. I think part of it is the whole parasocial relationship thing. If you like a fictional character that you enjoy, you kind of develop this parasocial relationship with them, and over the course of the many IPs, if they're portrayed consistently, you kind of grow to love them. I think the same thing kind of happens with franchises. We know what to expect from these franchises, so I do, like you said, I understand when people get upset when there's huge changes to characters and IPs and things like that. And I think it has to be, you kind of have to set up your own boundaries with what you want to talk about and what you want to get involved in. Like you said, we got real problems.
Yes, exactly.
I used to be, a decade ago, I was way more into politics, and I would argue with people online, but no, at some point I was like, this is not healthy for me, and I don't have fun doing it, and I care way more about the cultural impact of gaming and entertainment than I do I do these political things. I'm not saying that's not important, but it's just not the
No,
sphere
I
I'm
get
choosing
it.
to be in.
Yeah,
because,
I get it.
Because like you said, I have reality around me with my wife and kids, and I have to be able to function first for them, and then for other things I might care about, like gaming.
Yeah.
I
like I said, I don't hide my emotions. I don't hide my takes. I tell people, I'm listening. I'm an open book. I'll talk to you whatever you want to hear, and you might not like what I have to say, but I don't care because it's just my opinions.
Right.
And I feel like it's fine to be open and honest about it because you shouldn't hide anything.
Yeah.
You should just be open and honest.
That was my biggest hurdle. I'm not a very confrontational person, and I knew that if I was going to start doing this streaming thing and talk to like I don't have a huge following, but I do get in some interaction on my shorts, and I had to be like, someone's more than likely just going to straight up call me an idiot one day, and I just have to get over it.
Oh yeah,
it has happened already. I'm just
the
like,
best
okay,
way to say it is like, yeah, I know I'm fucking stupid, right?
Yeah,
because
I will say something dumb at some point. Like
we've all gotten stuff wrong. We've all had different opinions. We've all changed our mind. It's called growing up, and it's called like like when you're a kid. Like when I was a kid, I fucking hated cheese. Now I love cheese. Right? Like as a kid, I didn't like mayo. Now I don't like Miracle Whip at all. So, like, look,
you're allowed to change your opinions.
You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to go back and forth. You're allowed to learn and grow and discover new things, and it's fine. And I like I said, it's unlike politics where that stuff actually will affect your life, like actually down to the core in some cases. Like for a video game and stuff, your entertainment should be fun, and I do think like your entertainment shouldn't just be ingesting sorrow all the time. You see enough of that online. When you're on Twitter, it's just there's some days where I just get so defeated and depressed, where I just go like, "Damn, man, I need some time to take off here because the world's bringing me down."
Yeah.
And like
you need that escapism.
Mm-hmm.
You need that. I think I can't remember if when we were on Neo's show if I said it or not, but the whole like Tolkien, when he wrote an essay on fairy stories, and escapism for him was like a virtue. Like, why this world's full of problems, why wouldn't you want to escape? And people when they think of like the negative aspect of escapism, they're not talking about escapism, they're talking about like being irresponsible.
It's a break. That's what I think a lot of people should look at.
It's a break, and as long as that break doesn't become something that gets you to
an addiction
or get you to like desert your duties, whatever they may be, then it can become something that's actually healthy for you. Yeah, that's kind of how I rationalize it.
Well, it's just like I say, it's like it's fine to have a drink, but it's not good to be an alcoholic.
Yes,
and like I understand the point. It's like, well, when your escapism is bad, then people go like, well, if you can't even escape the real world. And that used to be a mentality I used to think of for a long time. It's just like with everything, it's like when everyone talks about, oh, the gaming industry is crashing, everything's falling down, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. And I go, no, there's so much good stuff out there right now. We have so much access to so much great things at our fingertips. We have generations upon generations of games that you can play in any way, shape, and form. Either through emulation sites, through actual sites, through retro hobbies. Like you can get in there and you can go and you can play every video game now, watch any movie now, TV show, even old serial radio shows if you're like that type of hipster. Like, you have so much access now for entertainment that it all kind of falls down on you as the consumer of that entertainment to find something that will put you in a better, happy mood. And that's why I started doing this show. That's why I wanted to do this stuff. I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to tell people, I'm like, look, this is the video game industry. Look at the past. I learned a shit ton today.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy.
and I think a lot of people kind of just forget that this industry is old. It's like 50 plus years old at this point. And there's so much interesting stories in there. There's a lot of amazing technological leaps that we've seen in gaming to make video games fun and interesting, and we have all different price points and all different ways to play it. Like, we thought the Game Boy was revolutionary. We thought the PSP was revolutionary. It's like now go back into your middle school days, and it's like you're playing Pokemon on your Game Boy Color, and then show them a Steam Deck, an OLED Steam Deck, and just like it just would blow your mind. And then he would be like, "Where did the cartridges go?" It's like they're all digital. It's like, what's digital?
When they're like that big.
Yeah, just stuff like that. And, it's just like there's always just going to be perspective. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be bad news. But as I like to say with everyone, like, you can only be on a losing streak for so long before you have a winning streak. And once you go on a winning streak, eventually you will go back to the losing streak. It's just called life, you know. And
that's good. I like that. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, and I feel like another thing too is, and this is something I always say to people. When I used to play TCG, this one card shop owner, her name was Shannon, and she had cancer, and she got over her cancer, thank God. But she would always say to her employees that showed up, like one was hungover or something, and they had to work, and she would just look at them and go, "There's no self-pity when self-inflicted," And I live by that code. It's like, if you know what you did wrong, you've put it on yourself. You can't really pity it. And you kind of look at a lot of these devs, and you look at a lot of these studios, and you look at the industry as a whole, and you could get upset and feel a little sad, but at the same time, it's like you can't really pity these people because a lot of them made these choices. Like we said, why are you buying more cartridges of a game than you have for systems?
Yeah.
What are you doing? That's so stupid.
Self-inflicted.
It's self-inflicted. And like we're seeing now, if we go today, when we're talking about High Guard, a lot of these devs, when you listen and read the articles, what did they keep saying? We thought we had a banger. We thought we made a game. It was so unique and interesting. Like, and I'll say this. I like that they have confidence to make a game.
Yep.
Because I sometimes go like, why the fuck do people even listen to me, even if it's two people, So like, I get it. It's good. You have to get over your self-doubt and just do it, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
But don't be surprised if the mass audience plays your game and it just is terrible.
Yep.
Or that doesn't click with a lot of people. So that's really about it. And I think that's a good way to kind of end this. Mr. J, I really enjoyed having you on. I would love to have you on more in the future for many other things. I think you're a fun, articulate guy, and definitely would love to have you on.
Thanks, man. I love chatting. That was fun. I had no idea how it was going to go, honestly, because I'd never done like a watch together. But that was great. I'd love to come back on and talk. I could talk endlessly about all this stuff.
Yes. So why don't you tell the people where they can find you and so on and so forth?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at JBongoGamer, X as well. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok if that's your thing. But I share my shorts mostly. If you want to get all my content, it's on YouTube. That's where I primarily stream and post all my shorts. Streaming is early morning if you're an early bird and want to catch some streams. I'm Central Time, 4:45 a.m. to about 6. I'm starting up Resident Evil 9 tomorrow. Hopefully my computer can handle it and stream at the same time. But I also, switch between games. I've been going back and forth between Majora's Mask and Metroid Prime 3, and I got to do some indie demo showcases for Steam Next Fest. That was a lot of fun too, helping some indie devs out. Support indie devs. Definitely do that. But this is a ton of fun.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you for coming on, and I linked him out there into the chat. If you haven't subscribed to him yet, go on, do so now, and all the links to the rest of his sites are also there on YouTube, so it'll take you right there as well. Awesome. Thank you very much. As for me, we will be back tomorrow night with Mr. Angry Canadian. And we're going to be doing our weekly news wrap-up recap show. And obviously, one of the big themes that we're covering is going to be the Pokemon 30th anniversary. So we're going to be sitting back and we're going to watch that, as well as talk about a lot of news. I always find it funny. Last week, I felt like there was going to be no news, and then every news dropped on Friday.
All the news.
I was like, oh shit. But this week we got some very cool, interesting topics. One of these ones that just came up is apparently there's a big controversy right now with AI games journalists. So,
oh man,
that's a little tease. So we'll get there tomorrow to hear more about that. Yeah. So that will do it for the rest of this week. Next week we'll have a lot more stuff coming, a lot more, but we'll talk about that next week. So until then, everyone, have your